Are you ready to unleash your full potential and become unstoppable in your success and leadership?
Welcome to the Unleashed and Unstoppable podcast, where we provide powerful insights and strategies for coaches, corporate leaders, and entrepreneurs. I'm Alexanne Carter.
And I'm Carol Register, and we're certified master neurocoaches who are passionate about helping you overcome your limiting beliefs and optimize your performance.
Each week, we'll be sharing actionable tips and strategies using neuroscience, from interviews with industry experts to solo episodes, to help you lead a life of power, purpose, and possibility on your own terms.
Join our community of like-minded individuals. Hit subscribe now, and let's be unleashed and unstoppable together. Hello, wildly ambitious leader. I am so glad you're here with us again this week. We have an amazing show. We have an amazing guest. It is Rachel Roberts from Rachel Roberts Recipes. And Rachel, I'm so glad you're here. We really talk about leadership, neuroscience, wealth, and I'd love for you to tell us all about yourself.
Okay. So my name is Rachel Roberts, and I'm a little chef here in Houston, Texas, but I'm a little bit more than that. I have a morning show called Coffee Talk, and I'm a mother of two kids, and I for a long time I was just a mother, which is enough.
Yeah.
But when COVID came around, I reinvented myself. And, I just needed to stay connected to the world. And so I would turn on my camera, I would shoot the videos, I would be in my kitchen cooking, and people really connected with my energy and with me. And I loved that. So it just grew and grew and grew. And, somewhere a few years ago, Brian Sebastian with Movie Reviews and More reached out to me, and at the time I was getting a lot of offers to do wild things like, make shows and movies and, whatever. And I was doing Coffee Talk, I think at that point already. Yeah. Anyway, I met Brian, and he had me on as a guest, and then he ended up adding me as a co-host. And so I've been doing that, which we go live on Tuesdays, as you know, 7 p.m. Movie Reviews and More, which is really, it's a lot of fun. You meet some really cool people like yourself. Yeah. It's since then things have just exploded. So I've been working on a book called Eating Clean, Drink a Little Dirty.
Ooh, I love it.
Yeah, you're right. And I've done shot episodes for a cooking show, but that is really a funny story. I mean, within itself is just how nowadays you can turn on Instagram and when I started the cooking show idea, this wasn't so much the case, but just over in the last couple of years, you turn on, social media and you see these people who in 30 seconds have done these beautiful reels, like, oh, we're going to cook a pork chop, and they just throw it out there, sear it, and it's beautiful with salt and pepper. It's a dance. And you don't need to watch cooking shows anymore. People don't do that.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
Anyway, I've got to now figure out maybe adding like a comedy special or something to my cooking show idea.
Yeah, I mean, I think about like my parents, they're still sitting in front of the TV. My mom loves watching cooking shows. So when I go with her, I'm right there in it with her. I'm like, oh, what's some of the major people that are out there still doing their shows via Food Network or Discovery Channel or whatever it may be. But it's super interesting you mentioned that, how the landscape is changing and what it's going to look like for the future, right? And especially with AI and everything. So you do Coffee Talk live daily. What time is that in the morning?
Oh my gosh, I'm a wake up warrior. So what that means is I work sometimes with Fox News, and then you'll see me on the TV. So wake up warriors are the people that are diehards that wake up at 4 a.m. And so I am usually I don't know if Carol, I don't know if this is maybe an age related thing, because I know in my teens and 20s and,
Yeah.
I was not like this, but now I'm 50 and
I can so relate to this.
Right? Anywhere between
Yeah.
like 2:45 and 4, I'm up.
Yeah.
I mean, I have videos that are so funny that I'm like dancing on my couch, like with endless energy, right? At 4 in the morning. Like,
I love it.
where does it come from? I don't know.
It's such a great thing to know. I know it's interesting how our sleep schedules do shift as we age. Because I wouldn't really have called myself necessarily a morning person. I mean, I was up because I had 3 girls and I was doing things, but now I'm with you. I'm like, wake up in the morning early. I'm ready to go. But then the same thing happens 9 p.m. and I'm like, okay, I'm out.
Right. Yeah,
and I'm on the East Coast working with people on the West Coast. And sometimes I'm like, glazing over,
Let me tell you, it actually hurts. Like for me, it's 7 o'clock for that movie Reviews and More, which is 5 o'clock, right? For them. And I'm like, by 7, I'm also at my age, I do intermittent fasting.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So at 5 o'clock, that's my shut off time. I don't drink or eat after 5. It's like Wednesday night. I went out, I had a friend. He's a local. He was shooting a live video. And so he wanted me to be there to support. Of course, I ended up in the video. Right? But it meant that after 5 o'clock, obviously, I'm going to be drinking and eating the next day. Now, I'm not saying drinking like I don't, at my age, we don't drink and get drunk, right?
Yeah.
That stuff is left in the past.
Those are gone. Yeah.
So I'm not talking, but just the fact that there was consumption after 5, the next day, I'm like I'm crapping myself. Like, I'm
was it the inflammation? What popped up for you? Like just sluggishness?
No, I'm literally crapping in myself. I wake up with diarrhea. I'm like, I am like feeling like hell.
Yeah.
And and you don't sleep as well. Like, so the people ask me, why do you do this? And I'm like, I don't, at this point, I think I started it. Maybe it was like to maintain weight, but then what you realized is like, wow, I used to get heartburn at night. I don't get that anymore. And the reason is because I've given my body enough time. So now when I'm laying down, the food and the drinks, they're not sitting there like, right? So you sleep better when you don't eat or drink after 5, you sleep better. Yeah. Your scale obviously is happy. You feel better the next day. And so I'm just not used to, that's why like I said, I just don't,
I love that. I just heard an Instagram reel, and you're really speaking into this. It was that so many of us, eat breakfast like a pauper, then have this lunch and eat dinner like a king. But if you reverse that, eat breakfast like a king, have the lighter meal at lunch, and then, like you're saying, after 5, I've heard 6 p.m. But you're then going to bed when your body's sleeping and you're in repair mode. Your body is actually repairing. And talk about how important this is for leading an abundant life and a life of leadership, because you are clearly such a beautiful leader. And I love that.
Thank you. I like being called that. I'll tell you.
Yeah.
That feels good. Well, okay. So I definitely feel like it's important, to take care of your body and take care in the best we can. And as we get older, I'm 50, like I said, it gets harder and harder. And the worst question you can ask me is, how are you? Right? Because I'm gonna be like, well, I got this lump, right? Like everything I think is cancer, right? I'm like, I don't know. But and then at my age, the things I talk about are lymphatic massages in the morning. I'm like, trying to release the lymph nodes. So it's important to take care of yourself and to make sure that you don't take, that the prescriptions that the doctors throw at you, you have to be real careful and make sure you really need them.
Right.
Because, and you take this stuff because the doctor gave it to you. I mean, I was taking this MP thyroid pill, didn't really have a thyroid problem. Then I was having these vision issues. Yeah, it took me a year before I figured out it was the thyroid pill that was giving me, that was making me feel crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah.
It's so interesting. I think you're right. It's when we take personal responsibility for our health. I'm turning 60. And so I'm right there with you. It's really important to just really up level our discipline, knowing that the reward is there, right? Being able to be dynamic and have energy and movement and good sleep and hydration, clean eating.
Oh, yeah. It's all important.
Absolutely make a difference. And it's interesting. You mentioned that limiting belief coming up from the neuroscience perspective, of this underlying thing that's a fear of cancer, because a lot of us have health fears, like we're not going to be okay. There's going to be something wrong, stroke, heart disease, high blood pressure, all of these things.
I mean,
right?
You can actually, you can talk yourself into being sick. It's so funny. Like, you can worry yourself into right into some kind of sickness. And if people, that are really strong mentally, you're like, they're always saying, oh, I don't ever get sick. It's the weirdest thing. Well, you know why? Because I'm sure the second they start to feel a little different, instead of going, what's this? What's this? Is that a fever? Is that a fever? No, you're just, you're outside. It's hot. Yeah. Well, they will talk themselves out of it. And I think there's a mental thing to that. You know what I mean?
There absolutely is. I mean, that's part of the work that I do, which I absolutely love. We can literally rewire those neural networks. We don't realize our subconscious is driving the ship. So if you have those underlying fears, and then, all of a sudden you're starting to make these decisions and break down, like, my sinuses are terrible. I'm always having sinus problems. And guess what? You're manifesting.
There it is.
Always having sinus problems.
Don't call it out.
Right.
And
right. Like, I'm healthy. I am well. I am successful. I am wealthy, because happy. Our health is our wealth, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Health is wealth.
I love that.
Definitely. You can be very rich. And if you're sick, there's nothing you want more than just to feel better. That's when you realize the priority is the health.
The point of having it if you can't even enjoy it, right? Yeah. So it's so foundational what you do. And I think that's super powerful, because I know I need it. I need to be in the rooms with people like you who are reminding me on the regular of these great things and are saying, hey, if you take some time and do these things, you're going to feel good the majority of the time. And then when something comes up, you're going to be able to say, no, I'm healthy.
I'm good. And you know what? It's also I know you know this. It's the same with being happy. Yeah. So there are people I know that are like, they're okay. We're all going to have things in life that happen, but it's how we handle them that, that's how you move on. And so, when things in life that happen that are, it's, you got to realize this is life, and there's things that are going to happen like this. And now certainly there's something good that is from this. Yes. And that's how I think. And I love to laugh, and I stay happy. And people are like, they see me every morning and they're like, "Are you always happy? You're always happy." I'm like, I am always happy.
Yeah. And it is such a mindset choice, right?
It's a mindset.
And you're wiring in those neural networks. It's in your subconscious. And now that's what's driving the ship for you. And it's such a beautiful thing to witness, right? I mean, that's what I love. And, the power of that. That's one of the things that Alex Leanne, who's my podcast partner, she couldn't be here today. She's got a new baby and a toddler. But Alex Leanne, and I talk about that a lot. And really, we have so much more power than we realize. And it's all about unleashing that power. And you're just speaking directly into this.
Yeah. Oh, I truly believe that we use and especially me. So half days I'm using not even a brain cell. But I mean, and I feel like, because I'm 50. And so now as a woman going through menopause, a premenopause, the brain fog. I mean, like sometimes I get my kids' names wrong. I mean, like it's just, and they're like, why did you just do that? And I'm like, I don't know. But it's, it happens. And you got to,
it's the hormones, right?
It's hormones.
Like I remember that in pregnancy, like
yes,
just being so absent-minded and leaving the keys and forgetting to close the car door. And,
I look at myself in the morning and I'm like, okay, close, check. I'm like, right, keys, I got them. Sanity, we got a runner.
It's so true. I also want to touch on what you said too. You know, talking about the obstacles and those things that come up that are seemingly out of our control. We even have power there because we can really put ourselves in environments where we're attracting things to ourselves that are not based on our trauma or our past experience. We're even breaking generational patterns. The thing is, you said something so powerful because you mentioned it being a gift in some way. And I really do see it that way, that, the universe brings along tests to us, God does, and we then get to walk through it and get to be strengthened in the courage steps we take and the faith we take. And it truly is a gift in disguise and many times. And just being able to lean back and trust that. And trust that's
it right there. So when things come, like people are like, how is it that nothing bad ever happened? What are you talking about? Bad? Like, I don't consider anything bad. So that's it. It's me. I'm over here. Like I've had 3 house floods.
Yeah.
And I tell you, like, and I'm a single woman.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, though, it excites me. Why? Because, and other people, neighbors are like, oh my God, this is horrible. How can you be laughing? I'm like, well, because I'm thinking of all the good things. I'm going to have all new appliances. Like my house is going to look so good. And this is my, like, if God didn't come in and bring the flood, my house would be cluttered with so much shit. So like, this is like the cleansing.
Yeah.
And there's, that's the lining of that. And I think, in just like you said, in life, when things happen, when a breakup, like, you see people that are like, oh my God, my wife left me. I'm like, well, then she wasn't the one. She wasn't the one. You move on. What do you want to do? Spend a lot of time going, why? She left you. She's not worth that.
Yeah.
Well, it's things, and with death, I got to tell you, it's very matter of fact, my mom put this in me. We're all gonna die. Hello. We are all born. We're all gonna die. This is part of life. And I mean, I teach my kids that. I'm like, we just talk about it. Matter of fact, I'm like, a dog died. Another one. Yes. Who's gonna bury it? I mean, it's just, these things happen. Know that it's part of life. And we're not meant to spend what short time we've gone on earth, like, harboring on these things. We're meant to just understand and I believe we will see these people on the other side. You know what I mean? They're out there. They're So, and I believe that. So, I don't feel like death is death. I feel like they've gone on to something else, and we're behind them, and we don't even know how much time we've got. Right?
It's
just
super powerful because it helps us take intentional steps to live today, because we do know it's coming. And I also, with that shift, not staying stuck in our past experiences, one of the things that is important is to validate them, is to have an awareness of them. Because if we just shift automatically, then guess what? They're circulating back there in the subconscious and they're still driving the ship. But when we look at the pain and we actually acknowledge it and face it head on, then we can shift it and remove it. That's where we put it into the conscious mind. And so I love that you're bringing this up, because we can actually shift. We can actually live out of the present and the future and what we're creating, our visions. And so, I'm loving this conversation. Like, it's just, in alignment and in resonance, because being able to look at things through this positive perspective is so beautiful, Rachel. I love this.
Awesome. Yeah. The people that are, I know people that are just always like depressed. And I think, and I'm not going to say that in life, I've never been depressed, but it's so weird. Like, I remember, and it's usually like I'm about to get my period and I drop a bowl that was my mother's and I'm like, I'll cry, I'll apologize to the bowl. Like, it is the weirdest thing. I'm like, oh my God, I had it for 35 years and now it's gone. I killed it. Like,
I feel you.
Right? Why am I doing it? Well, so my point is like, I remember feeling that sad feeling and thinking this is weird because like depression is something that you carry with you. And I know we've all heard that, but we don't really truly understand. Like when you are depressed, you're carrying that depression around and you're not letting it down and you're carrying it. And everywhere you go, like you go into the grocery store and you're walking, somebody bumps you and you're like, God, everybody always bumps into me. It's like, I'm just like, everything is going to be into the negative world that you have, right? You have got to. So, and I'm not saying that you're not going to have days where you're going to crack a bowl and you're going to cry, right? And you're going to be feeling like that. What I'm saying is, it's just important to snap out of it, right? You snap at it because you don't want to carry that around. Yeah. When I'm at the grocery store, I'm like this bad lady, right? And if somebody bumps onto me, I'm like, whoa, we're in a traffic jam at the grocery store. How are you today? I'm that weirdo that talks to people and strangers. Like, hello, how are you? You know what? I like that color purple on you. Like, I am a genuinely happy person. Yeah. And it's a choice that I carry that happiness with me everywhere I go. Yeah. So when you feel like crap, you gotta like recognize, just like you said, validate it, recognize it, and say, if I carry this around all day, the whole day is going to be like shit. And anything that happens, I'm going to think the negative of it. Somebody bumps me. Oh, what was me? Right? Like, but if I'm in the positive world, a bump is an opportunity to make a new friend.
Yeah, it is. So, and I think it's so powerful right now. There is a prevalence of mental illness, including depression. And I've heard it said that depression is often anger at circumstances that are going on, fear, sadness, but it's directed inward. And that's where it cycles, right? And then the brain is looping with that. So reminding us that we have a choice, that, the steps may be challenging for you out there, but that you have the freedom to continue to walk toward what you really want in life, and that happiness and satisfaction, fulfillment that you absolutely deserve because you matter. And so, it's so beautiful and important to address these things, bring them up, because they're real issues that are going on right now. And that reminder again of our neuroplasticity and the choices that we have is so powerful.
Well, I know, I honestly, people that have like mental illnesses, I guess there's medication for these things, and I don't even know how well they help, but it's important for people to take the medications, especially if you need them, and not to feel help, right? Yeah. And not to feel like, bad about having to take, because I know I was born with, the happiness and all of that positive stuff. There's something that was just part of who I am, you know what I mean? Genetically. Yeah. And not everybody has that. I look at my own children, right? And one of them is, it's like, he's always, and there's, I don't know. You can't, it's something, I'm not the type of person that when somebody does something bad to me, I think, I'm going to get them back. I think that's a waste of time. To me, that's just, that's simply, for me to want revenge, is a waste of my time.
Yes.
It's just like, oh, you did something bad. Okay, well, now I have two choices. It's forgive you, which is usually what I do, right? We talk about it. I forgive you. And we try again. And then if 3 times this happens, at this point, I'm like, okay, goodbye.
Yeah.
Right? Go away.
Set appropriate boundaries. Right? And the forgiveness is for you. It's a gift for you, right?
So you forgive someone, or you just move on, whatever. But it's, it's revenge to me. I never understood that. Understood that. I'm like, it's so funny. You hear stories about, like, I heard this guy friend of mine was telling me that he dated this woman years ago, and they broke up. It didn't work out. Okay. So at that point it's like, okay, fine. You're right. I mean, even if you're the one that's in love, you still know it wasn't working. It wasn't the right one. Right. So like, bye, fine. Yes. Go away. Right. Whatever. But it was so funny. He told me, he's like, you don't understand. She spent years doing things to get me back. Like it was the amount of commitment she put in. Like, it's really impressive. Like, wow.
Yeah.
I have trouble doing my own, take my vitamins, go to Pilates. Like, can you imagine, check off, ruining my ex-boyfriend that broke up with me 3 years ago that was not even the right one, spending time screwing up his life. Yeah. No.
When we can be creating. And that's where we forget, we forget that we're leaders. Each and every one of us is a leader. We lead our lives every single day. And we don't think of ourselves that way. Like you said in the beginning, we don't think of ourselves as creators. We're made in the image of the creator who brought us, and we don't think of ourselves as valuable and important. And I know I didn't get those messages along the way, but it's interesting what you said about the genetics, how from your early childhood, that you had a positive focus in your life and the ways it has impacted your life. And it's really beautiful to watch. What are your goals for the future? What are you doing right now that you want to really lean into and focus on?
My goals, let's see. Well, you know what? I would love to go from where I'm at now to, more on TV. I love that. To get that darn book finished. I'd love that. Watch Coffee Talk bloom into, to grow. These are things that I'm hopeful for. And, I'll write them out soon, because somebody just recently was telling me, if you write these things out and then you can actually, it really does help push it and make it happen. So New Year's resolutions happening soon, right?
Yeah.
But I think, every night I say my prayers with my 8-year-old. Oh. And one of the things I always do is I thank God. I say, thank you, God, for all the things that you've given me today. And when I say that, I think of one thing that I'm grateful for that happened during the day, something really good. And it could be like maybe my podcast with Carol, right? And I am thankful for my podcast with Carol. It was wonderful. I loved it. And then I pray next that God brings me more opportunities tomorrow.
Yeah.
And this is really the most important part that works, is then I say, and that he gives me the courage to act upon them. Very important. Listen up, everybody that's listening. Have you every night pray for God to give you the courage to act upon the gifts we receive the next day. So many times in life, here you are like, God, I wanted to be doing, I wanted to do this or that or this. And then they come at you. You didn't know it was going to happen that day. And you're like, whoa, I'm not ready for this. Come back. No, this is your shot. You have to pray that you have the courage, even if you're not ready, to recognize it, that's your gift. There it is. It's happening today. It's not going to happen again. You take it now. And even if you're not ready, you say, yes. Worry about all that. We're never ready.
I love this. Yes.
Right?
Do it messy.
100% ready. We are, the opportunity comes you know, would you like to be in a movie? You know, we're going to have you juggling fruit. Yes. Can you juggle fruit? Yes. Don't worry about it.
I'll figure it out.
Right? We'll figure it out. Yeah. But I mean, anyway, that's something I pray for every night. And I tell you, God delivers. He delivers every single day. I cannot even tell you, I'm approached with good, something, always something good happens every single day. So,
oh, wow. This is amazing. Amazing. I mean, I love it, right? This is what it's all about, living fully, abundantly, you know, with the satisfaction and the peace. And I would love to know where people can find you, or share with us where we can find you and get in touch with you.
At Rachel Roberts Recipes. At Rachel Roberts Recipes, if you put it in
on Instagram, right?
Instagram, Facebook, you know, TikTok, even, like, you know, the now there's more. I think it's Threads. I have a YouTube. I've got, you know, I think there's a, what's it called? Somebody built me a web page. I mean, who uses these things anymore? Right.
Yeah.
But and then, you know, every now and then you'll see me on Fox News working with Ruben Dominguez. That's always fun.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
And movie reviews and more every Tuesday.
Oh, movie reviews and more. Yeah. And every morning I have a show, Coffee Talk. So yeah.
You're out there. You're doing it.
Thank
You're
you.
Creating this beautiful world. And thank you for sharing it with us and being here,
Carol.
and allowing us to participate, right?
Love it.
Oh, okay. Wildly ambitious leaders. We'll see you next week. Love you guys. Ciao for now. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Unleashed Unstoppable podcast with your hosts, Alexandra Carter and Carol Register.
If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please share it with others, post about it on social media, or leave a rating and review, and subscribe.
That's all for this episode, Wildly Ambitious Leaders. See you next week.